In this lesson, we are going to talk about citing our source. We had a source, which was the PDF from the lesson on sharks. And anytime you have a source, you cite the source. We've done a summary of the source with first we did our keyword outline, then we summarized it. So we have our summary written, and now we need to attribute that information to our source. And that is called a bibliography. And when we put together a bibliography of summaries in their sources, that's called an annotated bibliography. And that's usually the first step in any type of research. You'll put together a list of your summaries and their sources, and then you have an annotated bibliography that you'll be using to write from. To cite our sources, we are going to use the citationmachine.net. This is a great tool. You do not have to have the MLA book or anything like that and look up where every period and quotation mark goes. This will do all of that for you. It also will do any of the styles that are generally used. The APA is the American Psychological Association style. This is the formatting style that you will use if you major in one of the sciences, like biology, psychology. Any of those you will write in American Psychological Association style. The MLA style, the Modern Language Association style, is what you will use for your freshman English and for your English 2 classes. Also, you use MLA if you're in a history, social science field. Chicago, I always think of that is non-academic writing. If you end up being a fiction writer, a fiction author, you'll use Chicago. The basic difference between these styles is how the footnoting is done and how the bibliography is laid out based on the audience that reads the papers. And so depending whether the citation is going to be at the bottom of the page or at the end of the paper and how it's formatted in the text are the basic differences. And we're going to use MLA, Modern Language Association. You can look in the book, but this is the easy way. One key to this is you can put in an ISBN number, and I'm sure you've seen those on the backs of books. Here is a book that I have that I put in this ISBN number. You just click search the book, and it gives you a few choices. The book that I have is this one, so I'll select it. And then the citationmachine.net automatically fills in everything it can glean from that ISBN number. James Scott Bell, plot and structure, it's got my book title, it's got the city, the publisher, the year it was published, then you click citation. Here's my citation. I can copy and paste it and put it in my paper very easily. And you can see it knows where all the periods go, what needs to be italicized. It makes it so simple. Our parenthetical, that shows how you would cite it in the text. So if I said you should always edit in first person, and I was attributing that to Bell, I would put parentheses BELL, close parentheses, and copy and paste my citation. All right, let's go back to our MLA style, and let's click our website, because I got this article off the internet, and it's right here, so I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste, and I'm going to have it search. Oh, I'm sorry, here it is. Select. And it tells me what it's found. Continue to final step. It has put in the information it gleaned from the website and make citation. And here it is. I can copy and paste that into my paper. I'm going to move this over really quick. Here is a summary. Paste it. And right there is my bibliography source. The thing about bibliography sources is they are in hanging indent. To get a hanging indent, you go to your Word, you click on this little thing in the corner, and it's under Special, and you go to Hanging, click OK, and it puts your source in hanging indent. And that means it's opposite of tabulation for paragraphs. Actually, if we had several sources here, they would line up with the second lines being indented rather than the first. So you can see this is what a bibliography source would look like. Okay, but let's say you didn't have the website, and we're going to treat this just like an article. And just keep in mind, one thing I want to mention, when you're doing research, even on the internet, always use sources that have an author and a date in a publication. If someone's not willing to put their name on their writing, you can't trust that source, because when someone puts their name on their writing, it's their reputation, and they're going to make sure the information they have is correct. And then if it's not correct, you can point back to that source. And here's our article in the parenthetical. Let's just look at what that will look like. Again, last name in parentheses if we're going to cite that in text, and we'll be working on that later in some lessons. But let's say that we didn't have our website and we didn't have an ISBN number, and we just have this magazine article. And so we would go through and fill in the blanks from our article. So our author, his first name is John. His last name, not sure. I got it off the web in the New York Seascape and elsewhere. Shark Week turns our thoughts to vital marine habitat. Magazine title, Wildlife Conservation Society. Actually, I think it was like the Huffington Post. Let's look at the end. Sometimes the information will be at the end, and it's not. So we're going to go with what we have up here, Wildlife Conservation Society. And since we're pretending that this is an article out of a magazine, we don't have our URL. The date published, it was published in 2014 in August 14th. Let's look for a volume number. Do not see a volume number. Make citation. And there it is. Copy and paste it. So I want you guys to go through that process with the citationmachine.net. Put in your citation and copy and paste it onto your summary, just like that. If you're using Word, you can get the hanging indent by clicking the little paragraph, and then it should open, and the hanging indent is special. We don't use it a lot. Now work in this class in Word or some word processing program so you don't lose your writing in Jupyter grades, which will time off after so many minutes. And keep in mind citationmachine.net, we will be using this for our research paper. It makes things so much easier. You guys are so lucky to have a resource like this. We used to have to look through the books, and doing the bibliography was a headache, and this makes it so much easier. That is the end of the lesson.